Okay, so this is the first part of the video journal. What this is part of the brief for the Foundation of Filmmaking course. And basically what we've got to do for this course is we've got to produce two pieces. First of which is this video journal that you're watching. And the second of which is a 10-shot short film. This is kind of very similar to a project I've done in the past at college, which was a 60-second short film in 6 weeks. We have a very similar sort of time frame. It's got to be done by the 2nd of March, which is the 6th week. So that's going to mean the editing is going to be the end of February, and after the first week, which is this week, we've got to finish the script and start doing the script breakdown on Yandu. Then we have another week of pre-production. Then after that, it's into filming. So that's kind of like the rough schedule I have in my mind right now. That's got to go down on Yandu. As for what we've actually achieved so far, let's discuss idea generation. The system we have been shown is a system that is used by Pixar. It's kind of like this idea of you fill out a few statements to write kind of a short story, and basically from there you move forward and you start scripting. And like the first draft of the script wasn't particularly very happy. I mean, it's been saved, I have a backup of it, but after some of the discussions in the first session today, I had a bit of a better idea. And, well, it's still along the same lines. It's still a noir-esque kind of monologue, you know, very similar to the likes of Max Payne, Sin City, Rorschach's narrations from Watchmen, you know, kind of like the very stereotypical noir kind of protagonist. The thing I'm probably most worried about in terms of that is going to be the lighting. I think the lighting is going to be something like this. We've got to use a DIY toolkit, because obviously because of COVID-19 we don't have access to the university equipment. We also don't have access to cast. It's got to be people in our household, which is probably why the screenplay that I've gone for is a bit more small scale. There's technically one character and a dead body, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is the second week of the journal. So far what we've got is we've got the script completed. I've got the script nailed down. That's got to be printed ahead for the 4th session, which we're looking at directing this week. I've just finished a lecture to do with like space and depth of field and such, and a little bit about the roles of the director, so that's going to come in handy when I actually come to direct the film. As far as I'm aware, on Tuesday it's the practical session to do with directing people and figures and whatnot. And on looking at the Moodle, it's asked us to bring with us the script. So I need to get that printed off. I also want to print off a copy of the storyboard and the shot list for my own reference. Those are now finished. The shot list, I did that in Excel. Just kind of a basic layout, clean, just easy to look down and follow. So that shouldn't be too difficult to follow. Then the storyboard, we used software that was provided for us by the uni. It's a free software. It's one of those things where I didn't want to spend too long on the visual aspect of it. I just wanted to make sure I could see what I wanted to go for with the shot, what I wanted to have in the shot. So the storyboard in full, I've put that up on a Word. I've done that in a Word document. Probably going to have to change that to a PDF though if I'm going to put it up on Yamdu, because if I remember now that Yamdu is a bit funny about Word documents. So what I've got to do for this week is pretty much just finish off the Yandu stuff, and then start making plans for next week, which is when we are going to shoot it. I've also spoke with Matt about the script. He didn't have any feedback in terms of stuff that needed to be changed. We also had a discussion about how we could light it. I've decided filming it in the evening, turning all the light sources off, and just using like torches, or hell, one of these things that I have here, which is like I'm going to bring this in. This is like I'm trying to do it in a way where you can see it. It's a lamp, which, and I can also use the, if push comes to shove, the torch on the phone, which I have here. This has several different levels of brightness, which we can use for different things. This is probably going to be better for if I want to cast. Just bear in mind, these are tethered to a power cable. With this, I'll be able to kind of just maneuver it around with my hand. Can probably get something a little bit more precise. Okay, so this is just a quick update. One thing I decided pretty early on with the film is I was going to get somebody else to do the voiceover. So I've been looking at a site called Fiverr, and I've essentially just gone through the process of hiring a individual to do the voice work. I've also sent them an updated copy of the script, just had to iron out a few bits. Okay, so this is an update for the journal. I just want to do a brief overview of equipment. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using an EOS 700D Canon. When it decides to focus, there we are, EOS 700D. We're going to be using that and a Jessup's TP. I'm currently recording this on my phone. We're going to use the lens. The lens ranges from about 18 to 135, so we're going to be using that, probably at about 50. And in terms of the light, we have this here. Two lights. We have a top one and a bottom one. Mainly going to be using this because that allows me to kind of like direction the light a little bit better. Kind of give myself a little bit more control over it. That is a tungsten, which is around 3,200 in terms of color temperature. And if I can just demonstrate like this gives off a orangey red kind of light, as you can see when I put it on my hand like that. So that is going to affect the way we white balance. This is the kind of things we're going to be testing out when we do the test shoots. Another thing I'm probably going to try and do is, I'm not sure if you can do it with a Canon, but I will definitely have a look. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and make it in black and white for when I'm doing the lighting, which is a technique that Matt recommended for us to do, just to make sure the tone is correct, which the tone is another word for lighting, or also the difference between the black and the white in the image. You don't want to crush the blacks, but you also don't want to blow out the whites on the image, be overexposed and underexposed. Anyway, so that was just a quick look at the stuff we're going to use. For editing, I will try using DaVinci Resolve, as that is what has been asked of me. However, we'll see how it goes. I may end up using Adobe Premiere Pro, but I'd rather try and edit on what they've asked me to use, to be honest. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to film in colour, and then in post-production I'm probably going to make it black and white, because I'm trying to emulate kind of like 1940s to 1950s kind of noir films. Okay, so I've just been looking at the rushes for the film. We did the filming last week, and there is definitely one that needs to be reshooted straight away, reshot straight away. My mom, who was playing the corpse, opens her eyes in one of them, so that's definitely something we're going to have to redo. In addition to that, I've had some feedback from Matt and Stephen, which is suggesting that, I might want to play around with some camera movements and stuff like that, because it was quite static, the test footage they saw. So when we do some reshoots, I'll try and incorporate some of that into some of the scenes. They also suggested leaning into the graphic novel style somewhat, using some still frames or still images, and stuff like that. Okay, so the majority of the work I've been doing this week has been on the edit for the actual film, what I've done is I've produced kind of a draft version, which I've uploaded unlisted to Crimson Knight, which I'm then going to provide to my tutors for feedback. I've already sent it to a few of my peers, just to basically try and get a range of different opinions for possible alterations. And from there, what I'm going to do is obviously spend a day kind of implementing a few of those. And then the majority of next week, I'm just going to be putting together the journal, which is the second piece for the hand-in. Okay, so we've just received our feedback. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to implement the feedback received by Kelsey, which is making that small little change to the shot where he's putting the gun into the victim's hand. I'm also going to remove the COVID notification. I'll have to move the music thing to another slide. I'm going to have a think about where I'm going to put that. Other than that, partly because I can't think of anything to replace it with, and also I don't want to have to drag my dad away from helping with my gran, I'm going to leave the shot to do with the sink and the washing of the hands, so it's just going to be a few small changes, and then I'm going to submit the film like that. Didn't particularly get any feedback on the music, so I don't think that's something that I particularly need to change, because it wasn't anything that was brought up in conversation, so that should be fine. Other than that, it's just a matter of getting these few small changes made and then working on the journal from tomorrow.